This is a day that I have been waiting for a very, very long time. And I've kind of teased you about it a little bit. What I prepared and what you're about to see will be in under 5 minutes, how you can help those that you care about understand about sound money. Look at this. What this is a dime card. And on one half of it, it has a pre-64, so junk silver, and the other half is a new dime. And on the back of it, it has a QR code so that the people that you're talking to and those that you love can learn more. But it goes right along with this. So it's a whole package if you want, whatever is going to work for you. What gold does is it forces fiscal responsibility. And that was the whole point in the beginning. So there are 4 pillars of money. Money was originally introduced to the public so that you could specialize. You could have farmers, you could have bankers, etc. And it needed to contain 4 key things. It needed to be a unit of account for measure, a tool of barter, a medium of exchange for barter, a short-term store of value to ensure that you were fairly paid for your labor, and a long-term store of value so that no matter when you use this money, it was always fair payment for the original labor that created it, right? Who couldn't go along with that? Though many things have been tried, only gold has proven itself to be a standard that supports all of those 4 functions. But of course, governments couldn't inflate that away. And if they wanted to tax you on a gold standard, you knew about it. So what they did was they enabled fiat money. And all that fiat money does is it mimics 3 of those pillars: a unit of account, a medium of exchange, and a short-term store of value. But we all know if you hold on to dollars alone, they will not retain their purchasing power value over time. And every time a government prints money, whatever is out there loses more purchasing power value, which is really what matters to you and me. So let's go back to sound money. Now, what is sound money? Sound money is money that governments and central banks cannot inflate away. And that is simply because it's got the broadest base of buyer. And we'll talk about that more in just a second. But when they set up this system, they knew that by a continuing process of inflation, governments can confiscate secretly and unobserved an important part of the wealth of their citizens. And while the process impoverishes many, it actually enriches some. And that's what we've seen over all these years, particularly after Nixon took us completely off the gold standard. And we have a lot of currencies over time that have been inflated away by governments intentionally. We've been taught that inflation is a necessary evil, but the reality is it is a fiat money. It is a government debt-based money that inflation is baked in so that slowly they rob you of that wealth and you don't complain about it. You don't even realize that you have choices. When we were on a gold and silver standard, we had ebbs and flows. Today, we have booms and busts, and it's all because of the power of the printing press. And the question is, will the dollar be next? And the answer is yes, the dollar will be next, because inflation is the very foundation of Keynesian economics. And who you're looking at there is John Maynard Keynes. He's the one that came up with this mess. Thank you very much. But many people don't realize that silver was actually part of our money. That's what we used in a day-to-day basis. But in 1965, because it got too expensive to create a silver dime, which is 90% silver, roughly a tenth of an ounce, They removed the silver from the system, 1965. So what I'm showing you here, which is a dime card, and it contains both a silver dime, and you can see on the edge of the coin that it's all silver. And then the new dime after 65 and later, where it is simply a clad dime and contains no silver at all. So what can you buy with that silver, with your dime today? Nothing. They just got rid of the penny. But what can you buy with this silver dime? Well, at the day that we bought these, our cost was $2.78 for one silver dime. You see the difference? And so silver and gold cannot be inflated away. And why? Because it's used in every single sector of the global economy. And frankly, here is the proof. What you're looking at is the cost of a basket of food from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So it's consistent from 1913 to 2025. And you can see while that basket of food in terms of dollars has gone up, in terms of silver, you're actually ahead of the game. So the whole point is that silver cannot be inflated away, and it protects your purchasing power, frankly, as does gold. Spot silver maintains your standard of living and is part of every sound money strategy. And look, why can't it be inflated away? This is not rocket science. It's true supply and demand. And silver and gold are used in every single sector of the global economy. So that means it has full functionality, total demand. This stuff, it's used in one place. Gold and silver, it's used every place. That's why it makes them above governments and central banks' ability to inflate away. So you've just been gifted or shown this dime card. If you want more information, just click on that QR code and follow it, and we are happy to teach you everything that you need to know. We are evidence-based, but everybody needs to have sound money in their system once again. So that's the presentation. If you call us, call your strategy specialist. If you don't have one, they'll assign one to you. They will help you walk through everything. So $750 is the cost of this card and the current cost of the silver dimes. And then if you want some to give out for Christmas gifts or Hanukkah gifts or anything else, then they will cost you one for $750 or 5 cards for $37. And maybe you can help those that you care about, your family and friends. Maybe you can help them see it. But I'm gonna have this edited down, so we'll redo it. So what it includes is not just the card, but also a link to this video. It will be under 5 minutes. You can usually get somebody to sit for a couple of minutes. If I can do it even shorter than that, I will. But the maximum length on this is 5 minutes. And let's see if this works. Because the more people that are aware of what's going on, the better off we'll all be, since we really do need to grow a global community to get redeemable gold back in the system again and force fiscal responsibility. And now I will take questions. Okay, and this is from Don McLeod. I saw an article on the worldwide debt, and they estimated at 600 trillion, including derivatives. I then asked AI for an answer. If there were 7 billion ounces of gold worldwide and divided by the worldwide debt of 600 trillion, what is the estimate price of an ounce of gold? The answer was over $85,700 an ounce. Any comment? Absolutely. Number one, it would be the level of derivatives. That is completely inaccurate. And the reason why I'm telling you that it's completely inaccurate is because a derivative is a leveraged bet. And when I counted them before they changed the accounting process, I had already counted 1.4 quadrillion. Quadrillion. So when I looked, the last time I looked, the worldwide debt was 313 trillion, but nobody knows the level of leverage and derivatives that are in this system. So when I tell you that I'm being conservative, even at $40,000 an ounce, and you kind of proved my point, but even at $85,700 today, without more of this, but we have a whole lot more debt that's coming on board to create a whole lot more money, and then all of those derivatives that are written on top of that are opaque. We can't see them. But I will tell you this, and I've shown you many times also, no matter how many derivatives they say that there are, that is just the price that they've agreed to trade them back and forth with. And I'm not sure if that's exactly accurate, but at 300 trillion, I'll take a look at that. Would you just kind of let me make a little note in there. Current level of derivatives. But that's the thing. We aren't going to know this. And every single entity admits that they have no idea of the true value at risk because it is hidden through netting, etc. And if you guys want me to do a piece, I haven't really done a piece on derivatives in a long time, but if you want me to do one on derivatives and do a deeper dive on it, I am very happy to do that. But even I'm only going to be able to show you the surface, and that's the scary part. It's not what we see that bothers me or has me concerned. It's what we don't see, because that's what happened in 2008. And let me tell you, the level of derivatives and leverage in the system is far, far greater than it was in 2008. And that would make 2008 really kind of look like a walk in the park. And Lacey Davis, 4770, says, please explain the windfall tax and how we can profit from our gold if they do that. I'm so sick of them stealing from us. Me too. That's why we have to get the monetary system in redeemable gold. So they do tax you to keep you away from what they don't want you to be holding, which is physical gold and physical silver. However, having said that, because these are things that until we are back on a redeemable gold standard, they can do anything they want. We have no choice. Even on the windfall tax, whatever, think about these numbers in here, right? Having something at the end of the day is far, far better than having nothing at the end of the day. That could also be a pretty darn good reason to do something like this, which fits into a completely different category, where you have coins that can go for many millions of dollars. And those that can afford that are likely to be either those that write the laws or have the ability to influence those that write the laws. So there's a shot at having a more favorable tax treatment on them as well. But if you avoid it for the tax treatment, then you're just vulnerable to hyperinflation. So even with the tax treatment, you're still better off. And what that number is going to be when it happens, I don't know. But if you repay it with valueless paper, it doesn't really matter. On the other side of this, do you want to have a say? Then we've got to have redeemable gold in the system. If we do not, we will lose all of our freedoms, all of our choices. That's why this is that important. Yeah, they don't want you in sound money. Heck no, they can't control that. They can just control the spot contracts, but they can't control the true value of this. And ultimately, when all confidence is lost, and the confidence numbers today came out way below what they were anticipating. I kind of find that to be a very good, well, not a good thing, but an indication of where we're headed, because that's the last little piece of what's holding the system together. So yeah, they will tax you or give favorable tax treatment to those assets, favorable to the ones they want you to hold, unfavorable to the ones that they don't want you to hold. But whatever that tax treatment is, at least you will have something. If you don't do it, you will have nothing. And if we can come together and globally demand sound money back in the system again, and the only way that happens is redeemable, that's the only way that it happens, then we have a say. How about that? How about us taking our power back? What a concept. We can do this. I know we can do this. 1% is ruling. We need 3%. Then we can overwhelm them and we can demand our power back. This has been a great session. Any of your thoughts on what I did to begin with? Some of you came in later, and it's on we're presenting a dime card along with links for a visual. If you can get somebody to sit down for 5 minutes, rock and roll hoochie coo, hopefully this will help them understand why sound money is so important. And until next we meet, please be safe out there. Bye-bye.